everyone, so I am back with part 5. Sorry for being gone for so long. I was at a sleepover and my parents got sick, so I couldn't do anything. But yeah, here's chapter 15. Author's note, because you guys need to hear this. When the reader is talking, instead of saying the book said or I wrote, I'm just going to do I say and stuff like that. So when it says that, the reader isn't actually talking, they're just putting their words into the book and just reading them. That was a terrible explanation and I'm so sorry. I hope you understand that. Okay, on to the story. The next few days went spent talking about the past few months. Liu explained to me that he had been searching for Jeff for months now, and the only trace he had was when he attacked me. I felt sorry for him mostly because I knew where Jeff was, but I didn't want to tell him. On the third day, I remember my mission. Liu? I ask. Yeah, what's wrong? He replies. Sorry if this is a bad question, but Cinnamon told me to get something from you. I said. He wants coordinates for somewhere. Liu was silent. I shrunk down into a corner of the room and awaited his response. Your name? He said quietly. I can't give you the coordinates because I don't have them. But Slenderman said, I know what Slenderman said, he interrupted, but it's not me who has them. Well, do you know? Well, do you know who does? I asked. Yeah. Well, I need to get them to Slenderman. Liu sighs, he turns around and walks a bit before stopping at the wall. He whispers something I couldn't hear and slowly turns back at me. But he was different. His eyes were crimson red instead of his usual emerald green color. A wide grin was spread across his face. Shivers ran down my spine as he slowly walked forward. I have the coordinates, he said with a deeper and more demonic voice. He comes closer and closer to me. Eventually he's standing above me. He grabs my book and throws it across the room. I jump out of fright as Liu turns back to me. I had so many questions to ask, but I couldn't communicate without my book. My name's Sully, he said. I'm Liu's other half. I shuffled backwards, uncomfortable. Don't be scared, he chuckled. I won't hurt you. My head tilted to the side. I was so confused. You must be wondering why, he said. And I slowly nod. Well, you see, Liu has a deep connection with you, he explained. And if I kill you, then Liu will spiral downwards into a deep depression where I would be locked away in his brain, unable to talk to him or have control of his body. That seemed fair. Also, he really loves me that much. So about the coordinates, he said. He suddenly said, you need them, right? I nod eagerly. I can give them to you, he said. He grins. My face lit up with hope. If you want to die. Chapter 6. Sully looked at me with a serious glare. I shuffled back a bit as Liu steps back. You wouldn't understand, he mumbles. It's complicated. I began to stress out a bit. Slenderman was going to come for me if I don't get him the coordinates. Sully doesn't understand. What am I going to do? I slowly get to my feet, shuffle over to the book. I pick it up and walk back over to Liu and show him the book. He reads my note and says, "If you give them to Slenderman, if I give them to you, Slenderman will be able to travel somewhere where he can bring all the demons to the overworld and destroy all humans." I close my book in horror. Sully walks in the other side of the room and leans against the wall. I walk over and place a hand on his shoulder. He jumps a bit and stares at me. "Look, your name," he says. "I'm sorry about that." I open the book again. "Is this Liu?" We ask. "Yeah," he says. "Sorry, Liu wouldn't even give them to me." "It's okay," I reply, "but what are we going to do?" "I've been on the run for a few months trying to escape Slenderman," he says, but he always finds me. Why doesn't he get the answer himself? I ask. "He doesn't usually get violent unless absolutely necessary," Liu replies. I close my book and walk over to the cupboard to grab some food and sit on a chair around the small table we have in this worn-out cabin in the woods. I take a bite out of your choice of food and look down at the table. I wasn't feeling too good at this moment. "Are you okay?" Liu asks. I nod slowly. My head begins to pound. I cup my face in my hand and take a deep breath. "Are you sure?" he asks as he rests a hand on my shoulder. I nod again. I was fine. Everything was a bit fuzzy, but other than that, "Tell me if you feel different, okay?" he said sternly, because Slenderman isn't one to mess around with. "He'll get into your head and corrupt your soul." I shiver at those words, but nod nonlessly. He takes a seat on the other side of the room and bites into an apple he got from the table. I rest my chin in my hands and take a long sigh. I feel guilty as I was the thing standing between his life and his death. I stood up and screeched across the wood. I open the book and hold it up to Liu. "I'm going for a walk." "Oh, okay," he says surprised. "Be safe. Don't run into any trouble. If you do, I'll come save you, okay?" I smile under my bandana and nod. Walking out of the doorway. The woods were deathly silent as I walked through, hearing only the soft crunch of leaves under my feet, and the shot breath escaping my mouth. I didn't know exactly where I was going, but I couldn't stop myself from walking. Eventually I became aware that I was indeed lost. I look around for any clues of where I was, when suddenly screams erupt not too far, but from where I was. I jump and scramble around the closest tree. The screams grew, and I could identify 2 females and a male. What had them so shook up? I look in the direction of the noise and stupidly take off towards it. It wasn't too far away, and it was strangely and I was strangely intrigued to know the cause. As I drew closer, the screams became more varied and less frequent. I crouched down behind a bush, peeked through the leaves. I could make out a man in a black hood standing over 3 people who were laying on the floor. I couldn't see much though, so I backed out of the bush and grabbed onto the nearest tree. I struggled to climb it, but eventually I was high enough. I get to a high enough branch and look down on the situation. The man was now crouched over one of the bodies, and suddenly blood splattered over the floor around him. Then I realized that all 3 bodies were already laying in a pool of their own blood, dead. I almost gasped at the sight. The man was doing something with one of the bodies, but I couldn't see exactly what. This must be one of the people from that house. I inched further across the branch to get a better look. That I must have been too heavy for the thinner side of the branch as it snapped. I fell to the ground and landed with a loud thud. The impact hit me like a truck, and I landed right on my back. I groaned and rubbed my back. "You again?" the man growled. "I thought Slenderman got rid of you." I roll onto my hands and knees and struggle to my feet. I look up, and the man was the one with the blue mask with no eyes. He was covered in blood, holding something in his hand. I couldn't make it out, as my vision was a bit blurred from the fall. "What are you doing here?" he demanded. I look at him, expecting him to get raged at me more. He just growled and grabbed me by the collar, shoving me against the tree. It stunned me, and I didn't know what to do. "I will kill you," he snarled. "I don't care what Jeff says about you. You're my prey now." I can't do this. My breathing was quick, and my heart was beating at 1,000,000 miles an hour. If I had known you'd be this annoying, I would have killed you when I first saw you," he growled demonically. He first saw me, at the mansion, but he didn't even talk to me. I looked at him with a puzzled expression. I wanted to ask him what the hell he was talking about. "Do you seriously not remember?" he asked. I shake my head. He sighed. Did you really think that 2 random guys pushed you into the forest for no reason?" "That was him?" I immediately balled my hand into a fist and punched him in the chest, causing him to let me go and take a few steps back. He coughed, held his chest as he straightened himself out. "Yeah, Jeff wanted to kill his past for good," the man explains. "So he had us lead you into his trap." I take a step forward and hold my fist. It ached bad. The man laughed and turned back to me. "No, Slender has a pretty price for you. Dead," he says manically. "I'll take my chance now." I shiver and take a step back. Again, instantly backing into the tree. Damn. The man pulled out a scalpel. The man pulled out a scalpel from his hoodie pocket and grabbed my collar again, holding the blade to my throat. I took short breaths as I feared for my life. Lou, I need Lou. I need Lou to save me. Please. I prayed for something and I hear my internal wish. My prayers were heard almost. Chapter 17. Rude language and gore. Alert. Growls and yells filled the next few minutes of my life. Something was attacking my attacker, and I couldn't tell who it was through the haze in my eyes. Noises of struggle and screaming could be heard. I fell on my knees, squeezing my eyes shut as the screams echoed through the forest. EJ's point of view. I had this girl in my grip finally. I could show. Finally, I can show Jeff that I'm so much better than him. Her greedy behavior was getting the better of me, and I loved it. Her breath was quick as I pressed on her throat with my scalpel. I was about to dig into my new meal. I was hit with a force in my stomach with something. It fell on top of me as I stumbled back to the hard floor. A heavy weight was on my stomach. I found it hard to breathe. It was Jeff. Get the fuck off me, Jeff, I cursed. That's my prey, bitch. I'm sorry. I cursed. Oh, he growled. Not anymore, I spat. You had your chance, finders keepers. Jeff's expression was full of rage and pure hatred for me. I struggled under him, but he held me down by the shoulder. He reached into his pocket and pulled out his already bloody knife. He rested the blade on my chest lightly and grinned even wider. I've been waiting to do this shit for a while now. He chuckled. What it will be then, Jack? The girl or your life? I thought about it for a sec. I'll take my chance, I grinned under my mask and raised my arm, still gripping my scalpel. I plunged the small blade into Jeff's arm and he curses loudly, losing his grip on me and the knife. I squirm and he pushes the knife deeper into my skin. As I was squirming, the knife placement had been relocated to my shoulder instead of my chest, and it still hurt like hell. I scream in pain as I try and kick him off me. I could feel the knife grind against my bone. I could feel the knife as I moved, and it put me in agonizing pain, causing me to scream more. Jeff glares at me with his demonic stare and twisted the knife into my shoulder blade. I tried to kick him off me, but he was in fight mode and wouldn't even flinch. I eventually get another hold of my scalpel that was still in Jeff's arm and ripped it out. Jeff yelped slightly, but didn't lose eye contact. I tried to look for a good place to stab him, though, through a blurry haze and spot-free space on the right of his chest. I pushed the small blade into the right of his chest, and he jumps back in shock, as it wasn't a common place to get stabbed. I take the opportunity and kick Jeff in the stomach, pushing him off and struggling to my feet. My knife was fully jammed in my shoulder blade and I needed to get my surgery and remove it. Jeff stood and removed my scalpel from his chest, throwing it to the ground. "Fucking leave now," he growled. I looked around and hissed, turning around and walking back to the mansion. There was no way I could win in this state. I'll get that motherfucker back soon. My hand rested on my shoulder and I jumped as I opened my eyes, only to come face to face with someone I hoped I would never meet again, Jeff. So that will be all for today. I will do part 6. There's only 18, 19, and 20 left. I do not know if it will be continued. Hold on, give me a second. Let me look. Yeah, that will be the ends. Let me know in the comments what you will want me to read next, and I'll do it. It has to be creepypasta though, because I'm not in any other fandom except Marble Hornets, but I don't think they'd have anything else but Tim and Brian. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and no not safe for work things, because I won't do that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Bye.